What's going on YouTube? So it's safe to say that Toyota shocked the world when they unveiled the latest generation of this Toyota Prius.
And today we're sitting in the latest 2024 example, which still has fantastic fuel economy and an amazing value.
So is this XLE for $31,000 a great buy with 52 miles per gallon? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Now you heard us just say in the introduction, 52 MPG for $31K, and those are obviously some attention-catching numbers, but those are not the only important numbers, because under the hood of this Prius we have the 5th generation hybrid system, and this is a lot more powerful than the previous model, making 196 horsepower.
You have an eCVT on all models, the option between front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. If you choose front drive, you do get that 52 MPG combined. All-wheel drive comes in at 49 MPG combined.
Obviously, we can't wait to show you guys the performance of this out on the street. While we're doing that test drive later on in the video, we're going to get things like our signature sound level reading so that we can compare to all the competition on CarConfections.com. But now let's close up the hood and take a look at the new sexy exterior. Now, it's hard to believe that I just described the Prius as sexy, but once you look at this updated model, or all-new model, I should say, you really will be surprised because there is nothing similar to the outgoing generation at all. Now, of course, this was redesigned last year, so for 2024, we're not going to see any styling changes. We have this new sleek front-end design across the lineup with the slender grille up here at the top, and then a wider grille down here at the bottom with a silver finish to finish things off. Now the lighting is also upgraded a lot, so we have full projector LED headlights standard across the board. As you can see, we also have a very cool looking turn signal indicator and daytime running light, which is going to boomerang all around through here. And honestly, we've seen this kind of design language start to spread out to some of the other new Toyota models that are arriving. Now as we walk around to the back, the awkward kind of split window weird shape, that's totally gone with this new generation.
Talk about a glow up. This Prius, it definitely has had one. I really like the way it looks here in person. Now, as far as some of the design elements, really the main design element here in the rear is the taillight. So Drew's hopping inside to see if all the elements are LED. So we do have an LED brake light portion. We have an LED reverse light integrated down here and LED turn signal indicator. So all three of your taillight elements are LED for this Prius, and that's standard across the board. Very premium feature for something with this price tag. We also have Prius branding across the back. It's blacked out on this model, looks really good. Down here at the very bottom, as you would expect, we do not have exposed exhaust outlets. This is a Prius after all, but I do really like the overall diffuser shape.
Now, as you kind of move around to the side a little bit, you can really see how aerodynamic this is because of the slope of the hood and how it really lines up with the windshield, making for that 0.27 coefficient of drag. Now, this is the XLE trim level. This is a mid-level model, and even though it is the mid-level, it does have really nice looking 19-inch alloy wheels. These are shared with the limited trim. Like I said, really nice look to these with the contrast finish. We also have a gloss black finish for our wheel arches as well as lower moldings on the vehicle. And all this really matches well with the reservoir blue that this model is finished off in for a lot of extra pop. Now, as far as our mirrors, we do have a gloss black finish up here. We do additionally have blind spot monitoring and heating.
Now here at the side for this Prius, you can certainly see, once again, that aerodynamic shape and almost the coupe-like design that this all-new version is going for. Really, the reason why it looks like a coupe is that the rear doors, you don't have a traditional door handle setup. You actually just have this handle integrated into the C-pillar itself. Now, as far as the overall vehicle length, is coming in at 181.1 inches. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned, that's another area where this Prius shines because Toyota is including all 4 of your active safety features as standard equipment on this model, so you don't have to go for the top-end models to get all of the safety features. But guys, there's a really cool cabin on the inside as well, so let's check that out. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
Now let's move on to the interior. First, we'll take a quick look at the key fob. As you can see, it is branded with Prius. And this is a smart entry system that's going to be included on all but the LE. Digital key is also optional if you want that. And just reach behind the handle to unlock the car. Now taking a look inside of the cabin, this is honestly as radical of a departure as the exterior from the previous generations. And let's go ahead and talk about our color and material options first of all. So if you choose the LE, that is going to get you a cloth seat. However, if you choose the XLE or the Limited, that will get you the Softex leatherette. As you can see, nice looking seat on board. We do have perforation running through the center. We have kind of a silver accent here on the sides. And overall, nice looking seat. Very comfortable as well. We have 8 ways of power adjustment on board. In terms of color options, you have the choice between black or gray. Memory seats will be on just the Limited trim level. But let's go ahead and climb inside. Now that we're out of the cold wind and inside of the cabin, let's take a look at the rest of the materials. Starting with our door trim, we have a nice leatherette running through here with padding. This is all going to be a soft touch plastic. And as we go to the upper dashboard, most of this will be finished in a soft touch material. We have a faux aluminum kind of going across the shelf here. And on our lower panels, we have mostly hard touch materials, but we do have a piano black that's going to run through the center section. But let's go ahead and fire it up. And now that we've fired it up, let's get into some of the individual details inside of the cabin. First of all, we'll take a look at our gauge cluster. I'm going to call it the gauge cluster, even though it is kind of a combination between a gauge cluster and a head-up display. This is a 7-inch screen, really set up here at the top of the dashboard. One of the things about this that you should be aware of is depending on where you put the steering wheel, you might block out some parts of this from your view, but it is standard on all trim levels. Surprisingly, we do have rain-sensing wipers on this XLE trim level, and the steering wheel itself is going to be manual tilt and telescoping with heating as well with this all-wheel drive model. Now, let's get into interior storage. So we'll open up our center console here. At Car Confections, we have been doing a new test called the donut test because that is our emblem. So we're seeing how many donuts will fit into the center console, and the answer for the Prius is 7. Not bad for a relatively small sedan such as this. We do also have our wireless phone charging pad that you can slide your phone in right through there. Large storage cubby in the front, and it gets even bigger if you remove that tray to reveal the hashtag hidden storage compartment. Got your 2 USB Type-C ports up there at the front, and then as far as the shifter, this is Toyota's latest electronic style. You just pull back for drive, go the opposite direction for reverse, and this is going to be the standard backup camera arrangement, so nothing fancy going on here. As you can see, we don't actually have active trajectory, but we do have parking sensors. Then just press the P for park. You have your electronic parking brake right behind there, your drive modes, as well as the buttons to lock your vehicle into EV mode and the brake hold. Moving on up from that, we've got our single zone automatic climate control setup. Obviously very easy to use with these toggles right through there. We do also have 3-stage heated seats, which is an included feature here on the XLE. Seat ventilation will come on the Limited trim level. Now, as far as audio systems, all 3 of the trims will come standard with a 6-speaker sound system. That is what we have, and let's give it a sample. So there's your little sample of the sound system. It's perfectly adequate for the most people, but if you do want something better, you can option on the JBL sound system to the Limited trim level. Now you might notice through the dashboard we do have a nice ambient light running that looks quite nice. And in terms of our display, This is an 8-inch display. This is what's going to be included on your LE and your XLE trim level. A 12.3-inch display is optional on this model and standard on the Limited. Regardless, though, you have Toyota's latest infotainment system. This includes new features such as wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. Up top here, we have an auto-dimming mirror, nice frameless design with our HomeLink universal remotes. And then up at the top here, we don't have the sunroof, but you do have the availability to get one.
Now, checking out the rear seat of the Prius, you might expect that it has a really crappy rear seat due to the stylish exterior design. However, I'm happy to report you have a pretty nice one. Now, as far as the space figures are concerned, we're sitting at 35 inches of legroom, 36.4 inches of headroom. So the legroom I really think is going to be fine for most adults. However, if you're well into the 6-foot range, I think you might be scraping your head on the roof just because of that sloping roof design. It's about an inch less headroom than the previous version of the Prius and around the same dimensions as a Toyota Corolla for reference. Now, I did bring my ruler here so I can measure how much knee space there is behind Drew's seating position. I am sitting at about 7.5 inches of knee space. I'm 5'9" for reference, and he's 5'8". Additionally, I can slide my feet up underneath of the seat. Now, as far as features, here in the center, we do not have vents or anything along those lines. However, we do have 2 USB-C ports. Heated rear seats are an option on this model, but only if you choose the XSE Premium with an optional package. Additionally, we do have 2 cup holders and a nice armrest in the center. As far as the door trim is concerned, it's mostly going to be hard-touch material through the entirety of it, besides for the armrest portion, which does have a nice leatherette, and we do have a bottle storage as well. Now, one of the really cool things about the Prius is that it is kind of a lift-back, hatchback setup. So when we open up the trunk, it's not really a trunk. It's actually lifting this whole area up. Now, as far as the space is concerned, you're going to be pretty pleasantly surprised by this. We're sitting at 20.3 cubic feet behind the second row seats. The second row does fold 60-40 split, so you can just reach up here and easily fold the seats down. And Toyota actually has not provided an official cargo figure with all the seats folded down. However, I will say that the previous generation was sitting around 50 cubic feet. Of course, this is a little bit more sleek, so I would say my personal estimation is around 40 to 45 cubic feet as a maximum, which is very good for anything in this price point, that's for sure. Now, I do want to provide you some of the cargo length and width figures. So with the seat behind the driver's seat, which is adjusted to someone who's 5'8". As far as the overall cargo length, we're looking at 69 inches of length. And then as far as the cargo width, we are looking at 33 inches wide. So a decent amount of space back here. You should be able to haul quite a few different things. I do want to point out, up underneath of the floor, you do not have a spare tire. However, you do have, some different components down there, as well as some LED lighting on the sides. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2024 Toyota Prius, and in this test drive, we're going to be talking about quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now, including getting our sound level reading so we can see how quiet this Prius is in our home state of Kentucky. But first, we want to go ahead and show you a hard acceleration.
$60 miles an hour.
That's not bad for a Prius at all.
Our new quick Prius.
Yeah.
So, to recap the powertrain situation, of course, with the new Prius, we're looking at having more power. 196 horsepower to be exact, because we do have the 5th generation hybrid system, which is a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine paired with all your electric componentry to generate that power output. Obviously the Prius has a reputation for being very, very slow. This will definitely surprise you.
Yeah.
If you have owned a previous Prius or driven a previous Prius, that's hard to say, this will certainly surprise you with the 0 to 60 of about 7 seconds with the all-wheel drive model.
Yeah, it is not bad whatsoever. I mean, even coming from other vehicles like a Toyota RAV4 or a Toyota Camry, I think this is just about as fast, if not faster. well past 60.
Yeah. One of the things I notice is just the instantaneous electric torque actually gives you that nice push back in the seat sensation as you get off the line.
Yeah, it is worth noting if you choose front-wheel drive, though, you'll have 194 horsepower and a slightly slower 0 to 60 of 7.2 seconds, but that's still 26% faster than the previous version of the Prius, so huge benefits when it comes to the overall power experience.
Now, you could probably also tell as I accelerated there that we do have a continuously variable transmission, or electronic continuously variable transmission. This is a very well-tuned partner with the overall powertrain. As soon as you put your foot down, you're going to get instantaneous surge of power between the electric motors and the engine. Obviously, being a hybrid model, it is going to cycle the engine on and off at various times and throughout all the speeds that you might be driving, including on the highway, like when you're going down a hill, like we are right now.
Now, I do also want to quickly mention that if you're looking for the Prius Prime, aka the plug-in hybrid version of the Prius, they do offer that. We have a specific review on our channel already covering the Prius Prime, so if you want to check that out, we actually sampled it out for a full 7 days to provide those extensive impressions, including a range test. So we have lots of content on that Prius Prime on our channel already if you'd like to learn more about that. All right, we're speeding up to 55 miles an hour so we can get our signature sound level reading. Fan speed's on 1. Our official Car Confections sound level reading is settling in at 59.5 decibels. And as far as how that compares to some of the competition, we don't have to sit here and guess, because on our website, carconfections.com/sound level readings, we actually have posted all of this vehicle's rivals, including maybe some other vehicles that you might be cross-shopping this Prius with, and we can see how quiet it is. And as far as how that does compare to some compact sedans, you will be looking at a higher than average sound level reading. It does test quite a bit louder than the Prius Prime that we looked at just a little bit ago with that extensive 7-day test. But we are in the hybrid version, of course, and also we are, in the XLE trim level. And I do also want to talk about the ride quality for the Prius as well, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are curious about that. And as we go over a bridge, I'm happy to say that the Prius does a really good job of soaking up the bumps. I will say, though, that you will certainly be able to kind of feel the road textures as you go across it, which isn't a bad thing, because Drew's going to talk about something a little interesting with this Prius when it comes to the driving dynamics. But, overall, I think the ride quality is definitely satisfactory for most of your guys' needs, and the seats are very comfortable.
Now, like Mason was mentioning, really one of the biggest changes and most profound things about this new Prius is that they have emphasized driving dynamics. That obviously was a total afterthought in the previous generations, but now they have made this a lot sportier. And, as we go around this corner here, I think this demonstrates just how much work Toyota has done to make this new generation stand out from the previous models. It really has a nice and buttoned down feel. Like I said, not just compared to the previous generation, but just in general, it really feels tight. You have very minimal body roll as you go around corners. You can feel the steering is light, but very accurate and responsive. Overall, it's actually a fun vehicle to drive. We certainly observed that when we had one for 7 days. It's very surprising when you take it out on a back road that you can actually have a good time in a Prius, but you certainly can with this new generation. All right, let's get into our airball and slam dunk. So for the slam dunk, we're really going to slam dunk two things, but they're kind of related to each other in the sense that we have just extreme improvements over the previous generation in terms of design and just overall things that make this a desirable model. The second thing, though, is the fact that this version here gives you all those desirable elements at a very affordable price tag.
Which we'll talk about in just a second. But as far as our airball is concerned, it's got to be the kind of gauge cluster setup here with the steering wheel. We haven't been a fan of that. I think that's been our airball for all the Prius reviews that we've done. It just, depending on your driving position, the steering wheel kind of blocks the gauge cluster a little bit, and you might not be able to see certain things. I would really have just preferred a traditional setup when it comes to the gauge cluster design. I'm happy that it has a gauge cluster, but the kind of weird setup from the BZ4X, I'm not a huge fan of, that is for sure. Now, what I am a huge fan of, though, is your fuel economy. So let's go ahead and dive into that, because this Prius is very impressive. So for the XLE trim level with all-wheel drive, so as tested today, we're going to be sitting at 49 miles a gallon combined. And then if you choose front-wheel drive, so if you choose to just have the front drive option, 52 MPG is your rating as well. And then the LE, which is, of course, doesn't have as nice-looking wheels or anything as this, gets a whopping 57 miles a gallon. So this is an incredibly efficient vehicle. Of course, the Prius, that is one of its signature things, and they have carried that on for this new generation. It gets incredible fuel economy, and of course you have the Prime model if you want the plug-in hybrid abilities as well. And as far as last things to mention, in regards to your warranty, you do have a 3-year 36,000 mile basic warranty, 5-year 60,000 mile powertrain warranty, as well as 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance.
And don't forget, Toyota warranties their batteries for 10 years or 150,000 miles.
And as far as pricing is concerned, for 2024, you're not going to see much of a price increase. It's only about $200, as a matter of fact, so very competitive pricing. We're starting at $27,650 for the LE trim level. XLE is going to start at $31,000, and the limited $34,600. Now, we have the XLE all-wheel drive, and then we just have a $299 option, as well as the $1,095 destination. We're sitting at $33,889 as tested today, which I think is a very impressive price point for what you're getting here. And if you're looking to buy a Toyota Prius or any new vehicle, we want to remind you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, on our website, we have a tool that will connect you with local dealers in your area to get you the best price on your new vehicle. Additionally, it's going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealer negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description. And that's going to be where we leave off on this in-depth review of the 2024 Toyota Prius XLE. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decision, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you help us to make more of these car review videos where you can see some of the latest vehicles on the market, as well as year-over-year changes like this 2024 Prius. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.